Folks, I have a lot to say today. Interesting because I put up a Tyler Wood video, and he mentioned the logo of NASA in that video and what it represented. Funny thing is, today I seen where NASA is heading out to space, so to speak. Been there, done that, folks. It's a lie. It's fraudulent. Now, here's the thing. They say, well, they'll go out in space further than any other human in history. Well, that's a total lie. If they're going to the moon like they did the first time, which they didn't, it's the same distance, right? Think about it. And they're working really hard at making you try to believe that what they're saying is the truth. Here's a thing that this guy that I'm going to show you didn't mention, and I put a comment on his video. But what he didn't mention was, and I didn't put this on there, in February of 2019, NASA themselves on their own website said, oops, we made a mistake. The moon really is in our atmosphere. But yet, now they're saying they're going out of space. Buzz Aldrin, when asked from an 8-year-old girl why we never went back to the moon, he said, that's not an 8-year-old question. That's my question. He said, because we never went there. That's exactly what he said. Now, folks, anybody believing this is probably too young to remember the false thing. Because think about it. Not only in 1969 did Nixon call the moon, right? Or, the astronauts. You can't get across town sometimes with your cell phone. Think about that. And then you tell me that you believe that they went to the moon. As a matter of fact, the guy that took that film, and it was filmed back then, of the moon landing and being on the moon, on his deathbed, he admitted he did it in the studio. He had nothing left to lose. Why would he lie? This government is known to lie. It needs to be dismantled. It needs to be taken apart and a new one put in place. And I don't care what anybody says to me. And then, you know what? If you hear that I committed suicide, no, I didn't. I don't do that. I won't do that. It's the government, because they've been messing with me for years. You think that's not true? Look at all the people that come out with the truth and all of a sudden die or disappear, never to be seen again. Including doctors and other people that, not just doctors, but other people also. Whistleblowers, all of a sudden, they commit suicide with their hands behind their back, but they put 2 bullets in their head. Yeah. Riddle me that one, Batman. Watch this video.
They are totally, definitely, 100% on their way to the moon. Trust me, bro, it's happening.
Well, we are still technically in Earth's orbit, although we did just do our translunar injection burn, and so we are definitely 100% on our way to the moon. The lunar gravity will take over in a couple of days here and start pulling us around the far side. At the end of our translunar injection here about an hour and a half ago, we just really looked at each other, and I know the United States has done this 1968 through 1972, but this is unbelievable that we can put our minds to something and pull it off. This is an unbelievable technical accomplishment.
I agree. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we spent $93 billion on this program, and this is the audio and video feed that we're getting from this little trip to the moon. We're totally going to the moon, though. It's 100% totally heading in that direction, and it's 2026. And this is the kind of imagery they give us. They give us blued out screens. They give us blurry footage, if you want to call it footage. We don't get a live video feed of Orion pulling away from Earth and approaching the moon. We get these static shots. This one right here from NASA's astronaut Reed Weissman. Anything look funny to you on this globe Earth here? Is any part of this photoshopped? Is this an untouched, unfiltered, raw image, NASA? Are you going to claim that? And listen to fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird MK Ultra Media go out of their way to try to convince us that, yeah, Artemis 2 and Orion is really heading to the moon. Just take our word for it.
This morning, the Artemis 2 crew is getting closer and closer to the moon, farther and farther from Earth. The 4 astronauts are now more than halfway to the moon. They blasted off on the historic mission Wednesday. They are scheduled to fly around the moon on Monday before returning to Earth late next Friday night. And we are getting a front row seat to their mission. On Friday, they released these images of Earth and the moon from their Orion spacecraft.
Wait, if we have a front row seat and we've already paid the admission fee, $93 billion ain't nothing to sneeze at, why are we just getting static photographs and not a live video feed? Now, I've heard the excuse that, well, the video feed takes up bandwidth and we don't have the valuable bandwidth. They use bandwidth to interview the astronauts inside the cockpit with things floating around. Why can't they take that same camera while they're talking and point it out the window during that live stream? If bandwidth is a problem, then use that bandwidth that you're using right there to show us the Earth from Orion. Why don't you do that?
Mark Strassman is tracking the mission from the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Adriana. Yeah, it's been something to watch, hasn't it? This crew is just having a remarkable run.
It actually has been nothing to watch. You're not giving us anything to watch. Video feeds you are giving us are pathetic. They did way better in 1969.
Capsule that has aced its flight test, a moon that just keeps getting bigger ahead of them, and amazing images from space.
Planet Earth as seen by the crew of Artemis 2.
Are they being freaking serious here? Look at this. What is this? Is that Africa? Look at the size of Africa right there. How does anything else fit on this globe?
A first for human eyes in more than a half century.
Trust us, you look amazing. You look beautiful, no matter where you're from or what you look
Trust us.
like. We're all one people.
Houston is go for TLI.
A final engine burn Thursday evening called TLI, translunar injection, hurtled the capsule out of orbit and onto the moon.
With this burn to the moon, we do not leave Earth. We choose it.
After a 4-day trip, a moment of mission drama will come Monday night, the lunar flyby. The Orion capsule will come within roughly...
This is better than the footage that they've been giving us, because they've been giving us choppy video footage, static, touched up photos, and a whole bunch of animation.
4,000 miles of the moon's surface. Artemis 2 will have traveled farther from Earth than anyone in space history.
The lunar flyby, why does it matter? What do you hope to get out of it?
We hope to get boatloads of money, but those boats won't be floating through the Strait of Hormuz.
Back to the moon, we're going to stay there, right? And so this is the first step towards that. We'll obviously build upon that.
Anticipation's building inside the capsule.
It was really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now, and really appreciate all the work down there.
Destination ahead.
Let's just go back. Look, watch this. They could take that high resolution camera right there that they're using to record the cockpit crew, take it to the nearest window, and show us the moon or the Earth that they're talking about, but they don't do it. Why?
And see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now, and really appreciate all the work down there.
There's no doubt where we're heading right now. They just keep trying to convince us that this is exactly what they're doing. Hey, what you see, the stories you've heard, the official story that you've got, that's what's going on.
Destination ahead. That small dot to the right, drawing closer by the second.
I can take a better picture of the moon from Earth with my cell phone during the day.
This crew is now more than 150,000 miles from Earth. Think about that for a second. And with each passing second, they get farther away from the rest of us.
Mark,
Adriana?
it's just hard to wrap your head around it. When I left my house this morning, the moon was out. I looked up and I felt what people must have felt during the Apollo era, knowing that there were Americans, there were humans on their way to the moon at that moment. Mark, I understand you're also going to speak to the astronauts later today. What are you most excited to ask them?
Well, it's first of all, I mean, think about that. I'm going to talk to astronauts on their way to the moon. I mean, just that. I mean, we've all done Zoom interviews, but I think this will set a personal long distance record.
Zoom interview.
So,
They are totally mocking us. Look at these people. Do you think they actually believe what they're saying here?
I think this will set a personal long distance record.
Zoom interview.
So, right? Yeah. I want to hear their impressions about what has surprised them, right? What have they most been struck by since they're the first people in more than 50 years to?
I don't care what surprises them. I don't care what struck them. I want to see video evidence of what they're doing. They have cameras. They have up-to-date technology. They can fix them outside the window to watch them in real time move away from the Earth and another camera moving toward the moon. That's what the American people want to see. Pulling this kind of crap, you're not doing a damn thing to address the concerns of those who don't believe one word NASA says. Think about it. You're the reason we have moon landing deniers. That was CBS. Check this out from NBC.
Tonight, new video of the Orion capsule with the moon off in the distance.
That's not a video. That's a picture.
There's no doubt where we are heading right now.
The crew well on their way, leaving Earth's orbit on Thursday thanks to a 6-minute boost. A move called a
more animation.
Translunar injection that requires 6,000 pounds of thrust.
Early reports that it was a very good burn.
The foursome of Artemis II in awe of everything since Wednesday's launch.
Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort, and we are now just realizing the gravity of that.
The team also snapping these never-before-seen images.
I really like it up here. I wish I could have got here sooner.
This afternoon, Mission Control woke up the crew with In a Daydream by the Freddie Jones Band.
It's really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon.
And there was some minor housekeeping, a question about where to find a much-needed item.
We were wondering if we could get some help finding the electric shaver.
Orion's lunar flyby scheduled for Monday afternoon before a massive U-turn brings them back home again.
This is literally and symbolically our moonshot that we're in the middle of.
And liftoff. Meanwhile, what may be the best view yet of Wednesday's launch.
Good roll pitch.
Now, if it's true that these people are not heading to the moon, I said if it's true, where does that rocket go? Does it leave the atmosphere? Does it enter space? Does it do this huge arc and land somewhere else?
Roger, roll pitch.
Captured by a NASA plane flying over the Space Coast.
It was a ride where you're trying to be professional, but the kid inside of you wants to break out and just hoot and holler.
So what do you think about this? Is this all fake? Are they making everything up? Are they just playing their part?
Yes, so many people playing a part.
Now, see, you have to remember too that when the Challenger that blew up? You notice that all everything that they put up there goes like this. Why? Because of their firmament. They can't go beyond that. They can lie to you all they want, and they're pretty good at it, by the way. But they found all them astronauts, them 7, including the teacher, Christy McCullough. Remember? They found them at universities teaching. What, 10 years ago? 15 years ago? See, they're still alive. That's what I'm trying to tell you, folks. And they are mocking us. Because if you believe that, they're laughing. They're laughing all the way to the bank. $93 billion, folks? Come on. Who would that benefit better? Probably poor people. Now, the next video is going to be a twist in content, because Travis from the Prepared Homestead is going to read off on a print that he printed out of what they're cutting to give another $500 billion to the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower warned of that, and that's what they're doing. Why? It's not just to put all that money into the military. It's so they can line their pockets. This is why I said the government needs to be dismantled, because they're raping you. They're taking your wallet and stealing from you. They're taking your retirement. Folks, wake up. Smell the coffee, because it's burning. And so he's going to do that, and I'll be back again. So with that, watch this video.
So I've been talking about this for a couple of days now, about something's up, something's off. Hold on, let me adjust this camera thingy. I'm having the hardest time with it. It's so professional. The very best quality of videography right here on this channel. Anyways, so I've been talking about how things are dramatically changing. I believe that there's certain little things that are showing, things that the Trump administration is saying, Trump himself and other people, certain actions that are going on that's showing that something's up and it doesn't look good. Maybe they're starting to realize that they're not winning this war, or that they're losing the public war, or that something's off. The Pentagon has fired a few more top-ranking generals, which, yes, I know can happen during war, but it usually only happens when you're losing the war. And this seems to be like it's cleaning house. And while there's not been any definitive reason for this to happen, the most obvious reason seems to be possibly that a lot of these generals are ones that have, whether they've refused or they have expressed that they didn't want to do it or whatever, about going in on the ground in Iran. That's what's believed. Now, it could be something totally different, but that's what's believed to happen. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and honestly, what I've been doing is trying to make, I guess, a sort of a risk assessment of it. Not just looking at the bad things that's happening right now, but trying to figure out, okay, how is this going to affect us down the road? And that's the real hang up that a lot of Americans and Western ideology, has a weakness in. We can be acutely aware of what's going on in front of us right in the moment, but thinking long term just doesn't seem to be there anymore. And our government is the same way, and the American people are definitely the same way. So I'm trying to encourage you to see what's going on, and even if your assessment is off, at least you're attempting to make one, and you're doing whatever you can to prepare for whatever you think that risk may be. So there's a lot going on. The oil markets is starting to take notice and starting to react, and people are starting to react. And like I said this morning, that oil is being actually purchased, not traded, but actual purchase price of oil is up around $140 a barrel. So it's starting to sink in, and things are going to start being affected by it. Now, the president is proposing, and he said the other day that he wants to increase military spending up to $1.5 trillion. That's almost a 50% increase over what we already have. And insiders inside of the Trump administration are saying that the midterms and then the 2027, 2028 elections are going to be focused on that. The GOP is now switched to basically this wartime defense party. And so the question is why? Let's start off with that. So the question is why? Because we're being told by the Trump administration that we've pretty much won this war. We're told that we won the Venezuela conflict thing of kidnapping their leader. And we're being told that, Cuba and Greenland are next, and those will be easy also. So here's the question. And we're also being told that America's military is the strongest and biggest it's ever been, and that we've got plenty of weapons and plenty of troops and plenty of everything. So the question is, well, then why? Why do we need to spend another $500 billion in military spending if, in fact, we've got this one wrapped up and we've got all these others that are just, a cakewalk? Well, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not the cakewalk we're being told. Today, it's being reported and confirmed in the news that Iran has shot down an F-15 fighter jet. They claim that they have him captured. They have pictures of his fighter pilot seat and parachute. They say that they have captured him. In the search and rescue efforts for that, they have shot down a Black Hawk helicopter and an A-10 Warthog. Now, we've been told by the president for a few weeks now that the United States has air superiority over Iran, that they have no air force, no defenses, no navy, no nothing. And we have air superiority. And yet, in a short amount of time, it looks like they've shot down or damaged 3 of our aircraft. And they're using an advanced passive laser system or something like that, radar system to do this. And what's being reported in the news, it's actually fairly advanced technology that they're able to lock onto these planes and take them out. So things aren't quite as sure as we're being told. And it doesn't look like that everything's solid. And so if we do invade, which is what it's looking more and more like, is there any guarantee that will also be a cakewalk? No, I don't think so. We're watching the narrative unravel. And here's something that I know that there's something, because I occasionally, I don't often, but I occasionally look at the oh goodness, this thing is driving me nuts. I occasionally read the comments in the chat, in the comment section. And I still see a lot of people that, Travis got this TDS and he just hates Trump and everything. No, it has nothing to do with it. I don't trust politicians. I never looked at Donald Trump as any kind of messiah, God, or great leader no more than I looked at any other president in the past. And that's the first mistake. We got to stop doing that. Secondly, I saw through the garbage, the lies, the propaganda, in the same way that I saw through it with Biden and Obama and everyone else. He said what people wanted to hear, okay? But here's the thing. Do some of you see the danger, the potential danger, based on the behavior of Donald Trump, based on his history, his attitude, his arrogance, that if things really start going bad for him and the country and even his support starts turning against him, what he might do in retaliation to throw everything off or to divert people's attention? I think that right there is a wild card, and I think it's dangerous. But things do not look so good. So let's go back to this, because I kind of got off track of where I wanted to go. Let's go back to this $1.5 trillion in spending. So I have here a printout of what is being sold of the things that are going to be cut out of the federal budget to pay for this $1.5 trillion. Now, I'm probably not going to read all of this because it's lengthy, but I may. We'll see. And I know that a lot of this you're going to say, I'm fine with that being cut. That's unconstitutional, or the federal government shouldn't be paying for that. And I would absolutely agree that a lot of this falls under that. But here's the thing. They're not cutting this stuff from the budget to save us money. They're cutting this stuff from the budget to move the spending over to another area, to the military. It's already getting over $1 trillion. Is it necessary? Meaning that the money, your taxpayer money, the debt that's being created, I don't like that it's being spent, but at least if it's going to be spent, it should benefit Americans in America, right? This is benefiting who? Does it benefit us? I mean, we're going around starting wars, causing prices to increase here in America. Why are we starting these wars? Are these wars that we're starting truly benefit the United States, or do they benefit another country? Does us going to war against Iran really benefit us? Were they truly a threat to us, or was it just that they were a threat to Israel? Or that they weren't even a threat to Israel, so that Israel just didn't want to deal with that threat alone? So my argument is that this is stuff that's proposed to be cut, and if it does get cut, as much as you hate that kind of government spending, you're going to feel a lot of this. I want you to listen to some of this. $510 million for grants for farmers and agricultural research. $82 million in loans for rural small businesses, completely eliminated. No more small business loans in the rural country, parts of the country. $61 million support for farmers and food markets, completely eliminated. $240 million in school meals and food education for children, fully eliminated. $659 million in community building grants. A lot of your small little towns and stuff that are building and doing things that benefit you come out of these grants. $47 million to support minority-owned businesses. $449 million economic development grants for communities. Another grant. I mean, the communities around here have benefited from those grants, and I'm sure many of your communities have. Gone. Not going to get it anymore. $1.6 billion in weather forecasting, fisheries, and coastal protection. $993 billion in scientific research technology standards. It goes on and on. Broadband internet access programs, funding for public schools, vocational training and adult education, fully eliminated college access and higher education support. Roads, $15.2 billion cut from roads, bridges, and infrastructures. So, you know, if you've got roads and bridges that need repaired, guess what? They're not going to be for a while. Scientific research funding, environmental cleanup projects, cutting-edge clean energy technology. You know, a lot of this stuff, I don't want to spend the money on it anyways, but save it. Don't turn around and spend it in other areas. But it keeps going on. Care and shelter for migrant children. Okay, that one's probably okay, but, you know, if we got them here, we got to take care of them, and what are you going to do? If you're not going to spend any money to take care of all these migrant children, what are you going to do? It's inhumane if you don't. Public health programs, mental health services, and disease prevention. That's going to hit communities hard, folks, right there. $5 billion. As much as you don't like it and as much as I don't like it. A lot of these programs that are getting people off drugs and off the streets and mental health and all that kind of stuff, that funding's going to get cut. And a lot of these little nonprofits and organizations throughout your communities, they exist, they do good work for drug addiction and mental health problems, but they only are able to do that work because of these federal grants. FEMA, Community Disaster Preparedness Grants. Those, a lot of those grants go to small communities to get generators. They go to fire departments to buy equipment, all kinds of stuff. $1.5 billion cut. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt your small towns. It's going to hurt your little communities, organizations, your fire departments, all that kind of stuff. Airport and transport security, cyber protection from critical infrastructure, funding for homeland security programs, programs to reduce homelessness, housing assistance programs, housing services for Native Americans, grants to help communities build more housing, economic enforcement of fair housing and anti-discrimination laws, home buyer and rental counseling services, completely eliminated. Grants for local law enforcement and public safety, $1.7 billion cut. A lot of your small police office departments and stuff, they're going to hurt with that. It goes on and on and on. Job programs for low-income seniors, worker safety and labor protection, humanitarian aid, global health and disease prevention programs, funding for United Nations. Okay, that one's I can be okay with that, but it just goes on and on and on. You know, a lot of educational programs, small business administration operations, loans for small businesses, small business development, entrepreneurship programs. A lot of it's being cut. So I'm telling you, we're going into an economic depression. Prices are going to be high, probably much higher than they were during COVID. People are losing their jobs. We're going to war. We're in war. And all this stuff is being cut. And maybe more. You better wake up. Yes, I know that whole list there, probably over half of it, I would be okay with cutting. But not cutting it so that you can take that money and spend it elsewhere. The benefit would be to cut that and then let the people have the money back so that the people can choose what to do with their money. And, now I'm paying less money. My tax burden is less. So now I can donate to organizations that are being cut from federal programs. That's not what's happening. A lot of your small towns, your small fire departments, your small police departments, they're going to be hurting. It's possible they may not even be able to provide services that you're normally used to. That, along with just higher expenses because of fuel costs and everything else. So I'm telling you, you put it all together, and my little risk assessment seems to be pretty high right now on the possibility of things being pretty bad. And you need to be getting.
So that's what Travis had to say. Now, my teeth are a little chunky. They're a little bit coffee. I like strong coffee. A guy brought me some coffee from Citgo once, and it was called Campfire Coffee. And I tasted it, and I said, "That's not Campfire Coffee. You want Campfire Coffee? Have some of mine." He said, "Look, it's like this. I will put it in my truck for oil, but I wouldn't drink it." I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, so now we got Jack Lakeland. I think his name is, last name. His name's Jack, anyway. He's a Marine, and he's also talking about things that Travis was talking about, them cutting money for veterans. Now, he's putting some other things out there. This is a little bit longer video. Travis's, I didn't put the whole video. I only cut it. But this one's going to be the whole video. Except for the very end. He shows things that something he says for sale, which he has a company called Black Scout, different companies. He has a supplement company also. But he's done this. My phone just went crazy. But he did that before he did what he's doing now. And he's even had people from corporations and other entities try to get him to do a different narrative. And he said, "No, I'm not doing it." And he doesn't. He's real. He's not a paid opposition. He tells it like it is, like he should. But I think you should listen to it, and I think you should go subscribe to Black Scout Survival. And I think the first one is Impact Vlogs or something. My phone's going nuts. I don't know why he's doing this. You know what? They're entering into my phone and doing crazy stuff with it. And they do it all the time. I remember trying to put a video up on YouTube, and it was a long video, and they kept putting it up as a short. And it'd get all uploaded, and it would look like it was going to upload right, and then it would be a short. So they're messing with me. If you don't think it's real, then you do this and see what you get. And you put the truth out there and see how much they mess with you. It's a fact. So anyways, watch this video. I'll be back at the end this time. I'm out.
All right, this is getting worse by the hour. We now have confirmed U.S. fighter jet shot down over Iran. Multiple aircraft reportedly hit in a rescue operation that took fire. And an American pilot is still missing inside enemy territory. And at the exact same time, you have top military leadership that's getting purged. This is not a coincidence. This is a system under stress. Now, what a CSAR mission really is, okay? let me explain something most people don't understand. That rescue mission, that's not just go pick a guy up. One of the most famous is Scott O'Grady. You may remember that. I think it's the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit that went and did a CSAR mission for him. But this is one of the most dangerous missions in warfare. Remember Black Hawk Down, Schuhart and Gordon, Medal of Honor recipients? You are inserting special operations, helicopters flying low and slow, limited air cover into a known hostile zone that just shot down a jet. You're flying directly into the kill zone. That's why historically CSAR missions get hit. And the fact we already have reports of helo taking damage, that tracks. That means the enemy knew they were coming, stayed active, and didn't disengage. It's bold. I even saw video footage, and I can't show it here, obviously, because you know the tubes, of Iranian police officers shooting at a Black Hawk. But these type of missions are very dangerous, and man, another level, next level. These guys are legit that do this kind of stuff, the pilots and the special ops guys. Now, let's talk about the aircraft itself, the F-15E. Now, reporting this morning, Iranian media reported F-35, which single pilot, so we didn't really know at that point in time. But it was F-15 Strike Eagle, and that is not some outdated piece of equipment, okay? That thing is fast, high altitude capable, built for contested environments, designed essentially to survive. You don't just casually knock one of those out of the sky. So maybe the pilot made a mistake, or they were just unlucky, or the air defense system they flew into was effective. And if that's the case, that changes everything, especially looking at their allies. Am I right? So people have been underestimating Iran, not just within the administration or the military, but I see it a lot within social media. They think this thing's going to be a walk in the park. These guys have spent years building integrated radar networks, mobile SAM, surface to air missile systems, electronic warfare capability. And the part people don't want to say out loud is those systems don't exist in a vacuum. Again, you're looking at influence from Russia doctrine, Chinese technology, maybe even reverse engineered Western systems. So now you've got a situation where the sky is not uncontested anymore, and that's dangerous because we were told even last week that we had the air superiority there, that we pretty much no issues. We took over the air there. Well, that's a stark difference than what we've been told. Okay. Now, if we zoom out, one aircraft getting hit, that's an incident, but multiple aircraft in the same window, that is a pattern. And patterns mean capability, preparation, and intent. Okay. So we got an A-10 Warthog that went down. We also have, again, a Black Hawk. Now, we don't know if what's true because they kept this under wraps, but we know one Black Hawk did. I saw footage of another Black Hawk, but again, it's unconfirmed because Iranian media could be using, AI, they could be using anything, but possibly 2 Black Hawks down. Now, if we look back over downed aircraft, ejection event, estimated incident location, seat shoot trajectory. Okay. So this is kind of the landmarks of the lay of the land of the situation. Now, again, the mission was underway, and it's why earlier in the day you didn't hear anything being reported because they don't want to put out, obviously in the media, Iran watches the media, they're going to know we have down pilots. They were trying to keep it under wraps so that way they could help get them out before they tell the world. There was also this footage from Iran media. This is a You see that Europe, Armed Forces Europe there, and ejection seat. Obviously, no one's in it, and they're saying this is the seat. We don't know, but hopefully the other one survives. They also dropped this footage this morning. This was the rescue mission that was taking place looking for the downed pilot. We'll drop in with Fox real quick and show you what they have to say.
Coming into Fox News Channel, the president has now been briefed on a downed F-15 fighter jet in Iran. This is a U.S. fighter jet. We are also told a statement from CENTCOM is expected shortly. We want to bring in the chief national security correspondent, Jennifer Griffin, with more on this. Jen, what are you hearing?
Well, Trace, we had some details of this alleged downed F-15E fighter jet that went down in southwest Iran. It's in the province that is actually closest to Karg Island, which we've been hearing so much about. We had withheld reporting on this until now because there was an active search and rescue operation ongoing. But now that we've learned that the president has been briefed on the downed F-15, we are getting some details from open source online showing.
So that's what we got. They were keeping under wraps, obviously. Now, pilot rescued, second unaccounted for. Still no word at this time, maybe by the morning, hopefully, and hopefully he's not taken captive. But if we look back in time, talk about Serbia 1999, stealth aircraft getting hit, Black Hawk down, rescue mission turning into absolute chaos. Iraq, early war miscalculations costing aircraft every time. The same mistake, underestimating the environment. That's what it is. A lot of people think it's a walk in the park, right? Now, again, let's talk about the part that should concern everyone. There's still an American pilot unaccounted for inside Iran with a bounty reportedly placed on him. I think it's $60,000. That's what the last I heard. Do you understand what that means? That means civilians could be looking, helping the search. Militias could be moving. Iranian forces are obviously actively searching, as well as military and the police. And if it gets picked up, this literally changes overnight, because now you don't just have a battlefield, you have a political hostage situation that will change the game. Now, let's walk this out. If he's captured, he gets paraded, used for leverage, used for negotiation, and most importantly, it's going to be used for propaganda. And the U.S. has two options at that point in time: either negotiate or go get them. Either way, both escalate. Really, I don't see a negotiation at this point. I think we're beyond that. I don't see it going that down. And then, in which case, you would go get him, which would highly escalate the situation. Now, again, maybe operations are going on right now. You know, if he's doing his SEER plan, and the problem with this SEER plan, you're behind enemy lines, and now there's a bounty on your head. So getting someone locally to help you is probably not advisable. You're going to have to go, really SEER school that junk. Like, you're going to have to go hide, evade, and at which point a lot of people talk about SEER, like what it is, but it ain't like survival like Bear Grylls. You're not making fires. You're probably not eating. Don't know if he got his kit with him that's under the seat. To what extent, may be injured, limited mobility. It's a bad situation for a pilot to be in. And especially that this is the beginning of this conflict, I could see it going south very quickly. So prayers, everybody say a prayer for this pilot tonight, and that they get him, really, really. Now, let's go back to the leadership for a second, because this part is huge. And this is one of the biggest indicators of what's happening right now. You don't remove Army chiefs of staff, senior generals, command level leadership during active operations, unless something is very, very wrong. Either they disagreed with the plan, they warned that something like this would happen, or what's going to happen worse when 82nd goes in, the Muse and special operations, or maybe they just have lost control of the situation. And none of those are good. And the real question is what if this is isn't just a battlefield issue? What if this is a massive disagreement inside the U.S. command structure? Because if generals are saying this plan isn't going to work and leadership pushes forward anyway, that is how wars go sideways. And we've seen it time and time again. And you know who pays for it? Not the politicians, not Lindsey Graham, not even the generals. They'll still be eating fine dining, but it will cost blood of American troops, right? Now, the thing is the biggest key that I see, in a major problem I have, is that we're already seeing conflicting aircraft reports. So earlier in the day, and I thought I had it, I don't have it, but the U.S. stated this morning, and I'm sure it was propaganda to throw off Iran, but CENTCOM said they had all aircraft accounted for, that no one was, no aircraft was shot down. So that was a lot of problem this morning. Obviously, I get it, because OPSEC, you're trying to rescue these guys. You don't want to put that out in the media. But again, it's also a psyop, a propaganda, is saving face, right? We also have a big one. Now, this thing, I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not, but lots of outlets are reporting this. And I'm not talking about social media influencers. I'm talking about media outlets. They're saying that the Trump administration has reportedly covered up the deaths of lots of U.S. service members. This one says 2 here, but in that we have a higher wounded count than what we're being told. They're saying way more casualties, way more wounded. We're getting delayed confirmations, and that's not accidental, guys. That's controlled messaging. And I get it, in the fog of war, in the heat of the situation, you don't want to put that out in the metaverse. However, it does throw you off a little bit. It's like, can we trust what we're being told? I don't think we can. I don't think we can trust anything we're being told about what's happening over there. They obviously don't want to it's already got a horrible, horrible approval rating by Americans. Americans, by and large, does not want to be involved in this. A lot because of filling up their gas tanks. Some because they don't want to see American lives lost. Others don't want to see tons of money being spent in new wars. I thought there was no new wars, so a lot of people thought that, right? Well, we got aircraft losses if we look at this, missing personnel, leadership shakeup, and increased force deployment still happening. Next, expanded strikes, strategic targets, possible ground movement. And once that happens, there is no easy off-ramp. There is none. That door has closed. This is not going to be a 2 to 3 week war like they're talking about. That's what they're trying to tell you right now. It's going to be a 2 to 3 week. It will not be. Now, let me give you something to think about. What if this wasn't a failure? What if this was a message that we can hit your aircraft? Because if that's true, this just became a different war. Maybe they're withholding the technology that they have maybe acquired from China. We've been hearing about this for a long time now. Matthew Livelsberger stated that China was giving drones, or had high-tech drones, and during the New Jersey thing about Iranians getting them from China. Now, before I close out, I want to show you something that honestly bothered me more than anything else today. Okay. Not even Iran, not the aircraft, not even the missing pilot. People. Earlier today, I posted this exact situation, real time. I was trying to get real time. If you're not following me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram. I try to post things real time. And look, one I don't post anything. I don't try to verify. And if I'm ever wrong, I come out and say I'm wrong. Fact. I will use words that I will, if something that I'm not sure about, I'm saying this is being reported. I'm not going to say anything as a fact. Okay. But at this time that I saw this and verified through multiple outlets across the world, I posted this situation, facts, confirmed information, images, breakdowns, and I had people, my own audience, telling me it was fake, that I was lying, and it wasn't real, even with the proof sitting right in front of them. Let that sink in. It's why what I've been talking about a lot lately, as far as the radicalization of people. You have the extreme MAGAs that are acting exactly the same way as people made fun of the blue-haired septum ring liberals in 2020 about like the hokey pokey. They just lose their minds. No, because they think you're talking about Daddy Trump. Reporting aircraft crash. Do not talk about Daddy Trump. Wasn't talking about Trump. He wasn't flying the aircraft, dude. But what that actually means is it's not a disagreement. It's not a debate. It's something else. It's people who are unable to process reality when it conflicts with what they believe, their ideology. And if that sounds familiar, it should. Again, 2020, think about it. Yuri Bezmenov, I've talked about him a ton of times, right? He was a KGB defector. He warned about this exact thing decades ago. He said, once a population reaches a certain stage of ideological subversion, you can show them facts, evidence, documents, and video. And I was using Yuri Bezmenov in 2020 as talking about these same things, just with the left side. Now I'm having to talk about the right side. You can show them facts, evidence, documents, video, and they will still reject it. Not because it's wrong, but because it conflicts with their narrative. And it's called demoralization. Now, I'm going to break the stages down. What he talked about, simple, is how they plan to take over America. And really, we're falling right in line. You have demoralization. People lose the ability to distinguish from truth and fiction. Destabilization, institutions, leadership, and trust start breaking down. Crisis, everything collides fast. Then normalization, the chaos becomes the new normal. So if you look around, we're watching war escalation, conflicting information, leadership shakeups, people refusing to accept reality. And you've got individuals who will defend anything, not because it's right, but it's because it's their side. And then yesterday, I posted about something like this VA home loan situation, which should make every American pissed off. Veterans losing homes, struggling, real people getting hurt. I posted this, and instead of saying, hey, man, maybe we should fix this, help our veterans, the people who serve this country, you got people saying, good, no handouts to veterans. Man, some of these guys are wounded. They can't work. They're in bad situations. How many veterans watching right now, when you got out, were you struggling to survive? I got a VA home loan, dude. I wouldn't have been able to purchase my first home without a VA home loan. Since when do we not want to take care of our veterans? That was not on my 2026 bingo card that MAGA would say, screw the veterans, because that's what happened in my comments. Go look. Go look. Go look. It's unbelievable. Since when is that controversial? Well, because the man in the photograph. It happened under his administration. It's wild. And that's the point. That's exactly the point. You're not dealing with logic anymore. You're dealing with tribal conditioning, where people will defend bad decisions, ignore consequences, and attack anyone pointing it out. I had people in the past week defending $4 gas. I had someone comment on a post on Instagram today saying, we're fighting Iran for our freedom. Dude, I was unaware that Iran was going to take our freedom from us. I really was. News to me. Really? They'll do anything or say anything just to stay aligned with their side. And that is dangerous because once the population reaches that stage, course correction becomes impossible. You can't fix the problem when half the population refuses to admit it exists. It's exactly why I see another thing people say in the comments, why don't you get a group together and take the country back? Because too divided. You can't get three people to agree on anything. So let me ask you, at what point do we stop defending narratives and start looking into reality? When does loyalty become blindness? And if we can't agree on what's real, what happens next? We got a pilot still missing, aircraft being shot down, leadership being shaken up, possible invasion, and population that can't even agree on what's happening. That combination is how things spiral. They spiral out of control, and we're there. I do appreciate you hanging out with me, guys. Let me share something with you.
Now I got to say something to myself about veterans. You know, I've met quite a few. I've had quite a few give me information that some of them give me information that they weren't supposed to, but they're dead now, so it doesn't matter anymore. About Kennedy and different things, you know. I feel bad for them because they've been lied to and they didn't recognize it until they went to war and come back. And I have not met one in person, because maybe there's some out there, but I have not met one that believed the government at all. Once they come back and they realized they were lied to, they didn't trust the government for anything. And I'm not kidding. And I feel bad for these people. My phone's going crazy. This phone is nuts. It's crazier than I am. Right, Tammy? Anyways, so I put this out. I'm going to upload it. And it's High Impact Vlog, I think, is the first one. The Prepared Homestead is the second one. And Black Scout Survival. And he has a company called Black Forest, which has supplements. But you can subscribe to these people. You know, pause it, write it down, and then go check them out. And this phone is driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. It's got a circle with my face in it, and it lights up all around it, and it's on, off, and it's just driving me crazy. So I know you can see the light on my face, but anyways, I'm going to put another video up because I got some other things to talk about, which is going to be a lot shorter video. And if you haven't got this far, then you missed some information. Because most people that watch my videos, they don't watch them all the way. You know, people have a attention span of about a mouse. You know, that's how it is. So anyways, love y'all. Subscribe, share my videos, put a like on there. It would help me. Because look at my views and look at my subscribers. And that's because of YouTube. I was watching a video once. Or I was looking at my YouTube studio. And I seen a video where they were knocking off the views like bing, 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 bing. I mean, the videos were going down. The views were going down. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So that's YouTube for you. And that's what they do. They're evil. They should probably be taken out too. I'm out.